Lewis. How we doing?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
What up, Louis?
Good.
I haven't seen y'all. You know what? I haven't seen you in a little bit.
I like calling him Luis.
I haven't been on here in a little bit.
I
I've been
know.
watching you on TV, though.
What's the deal?
I can tell by the look on your face, you missed us.
Well, I didn't say that, Stephen. But I did. I like you.
All right. Well, it's good to have you.
All right.
And we need your help on this one. Max,
All right.
I'll start with you here. Should Murray give up on baseball completely?
Yeah, he should, because he's a quarterback. This is not a running back or something like that. The amount of the attention to detail and the amount of time and preparation it takes to be a quarterback at the highest level, which I think Kyler Murray has a chance to do, requires your undevoted, and not distracted attention.
Mm-hmm.
Your devoted attention, rather.
Yeah.
So I think he should. Now, I don't root for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm a Giants fan.
Yeah.
So as a fan, I'd like to see him try both, because it'd be so cool if he could do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was a Cardinals fan and I want to see him have success, I'm assuming they're going to draft him, then I want him focusing on football. It's hard, even that, with undistracted attention. It's tough to be an elite quarterback. But if you're also doing something else, good luck.
I'm not a proponent of him completely giving up on baseball. I want him to prove himself in football first. And I don't think that he's devoid of the ability to prove himself first unless he's completely focused on football. Here's what I mean. You leave your options open. He could go out there on a football field and get his chest caved in or get injured within the first few weeks of his NFL career. You keep your options open as far as I'm concerned until you have proven yourself. And as a result, the NFL is willing to afford you the stability that you're looking for so you can afford to give up on baseball. But as long as that is not the case, then you need to position yourself to make yourself as marketable as you possibly can and hold on to your options. I'm not telling you to have him play baseball while he's playing football during the season. You get all in as a football player. But when the season's over, you don't lose those baseball skills. You keep them honed to the best of your ability while not trying to compromise yourself until somebody says you have arrived, you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I think this is all relative. This is really only a question that Kyler Murray can answer as far as whether or not he has given up on baseball or not. And by that, let me put it this way, and Max, I think you kind of touched on it. In order for him to really see just how good of a quarterback he can be and just see what really is the limit for him as far as playing quarterback in the NFL, there's no way that in his mind mentally he can have an eye towards baseball and be thinking about what if and entertaining what if and or dabbling in any way, shape, or form trying to keep his skills honed in baseball while at the same time being able to give all that he can to be all that he can be in football. Quarterbacks, it's just too hard. There's too many things that are asked of you as far as playing that position that baseball would just distract from both mentally and physically if he didn't right now just take baseball and try to, as best he can, set it aside both emotionally and mentally combined with physically. You can't do both, not at this position. This is not like playing running back. This is not like playing cornerback like Dion did. It's not the same. The requirements for playing this position are just too great. So I think if there's ever Look, only Kyler will know exactly how much he is devoting to being an all-pro caliber quarterback, which I believe he has the talent to do. Only he knows. And he would be cheating himself. He'd be cheating the team that drafted him. He would really, I just don't think it would be something that would benefit him if he really, in his mind and in his heart, was really torn and really was in any way, shape, or form devoting any energy to doing something other than playing quarterback, if in fact that is what he wants to do.
Lewis, let me veer left here for a specific question to you. Covering the draft, knowing the teams the way that you do.
Yeah.
Would Kyler Murray even be considered as a number one overall pick if Cliff Kingsbury wasn't the new coach of the Arizona Cardinals?
Yeah, and likely no. He probably wouldn't be. But really, you know what? I'll tell you what. Look, the draft is all about fits anyway. It's all about marriages. It's all about things lining up for you, and that's really how the draft is really dictated anyway. So really, that doesn't really matter, except for the fact that look, this is the place that really the things are lining up for him to be selected by them, all right? It really is, based on what Cliff Kingsbury has already said about the player, based on what the projected fit would be in this offense, given that they're going to run the same type of offense largely that they ran at Texas Tech. It just adds up for him. Whether or not he would be drafted number 1 overall if the Cardinals were there is irrelevant for this conversation, because we're not really, look, all it does is it takes one team in order to really like you in order to justify where you were drafted. And really, just because you were drafted number 1 overall doesn't mean, you were worthy of being that pick anyway until ultimately you go on the football field and prove it. So for him, that's really an irrelevant discussion for me. But I will say this. Because of what we're trying to talk about here, whether or not he can kind of play both positions and really maximize his potential, given his position, look, I would say differently if it was a different position other than playing quarterback.
But that's my.
It can't be done. It can't be done.
That's my
at the
point.
highest level. You're
that's
right.
my point.
I'm
If I was
a
a Cardinals fan, I wouldn't want to see him try because it's hard enough to be a successful quarterback. But I'll say this: it's like the 4-minute mile, right? Someone's going to break it eventually. Mm-hmm. It would push the bounds of what we know, the boundaries of what we know to be possible. When Deion Sanders did both, Bo Jackson, obviously, Deion Sanders. Bo Jackson was an all-star, but was really turning into a legitimate all-star caliber baseball player and among the greatest running backs of all time. Deion Sanders, I think, was the best corner who ever lived, and he was developing into an excellent center fielder and leadoff hitter for a championship caliber club in Atlanta. And so we see that's possible. Is it possible that someone could be a Super Bowl, all-pro caliber quarterback and a great baseball player? Like, one day we may find out. And let me tell you something, that Billy Beane, of all people, the sabermetrics revolution really started with his adherence to kind of Bill Jamesian principles. If Billy Beane is going to risk a first-round pick on a guy who is likely to play football, can you imagine what that means? The analytics have said Kyler Murray's potential is as a baseball player.
Sure.
It means that he has the chance to be like an MVP caliber player. Beane wouldn't have done it.
Lewis, you could speak to this more so. Playing the quarterback position is a different deal in terms of preparation and being in that playbook.
Question.
To be able to split your time between two sports.
There's no question. And look, it's all also a matter of like, what is Kyler's goal? What are his expectations? What are his personal expectations? What does he want to be? Look, if you want to be someone who is trying to break barriers and do things that no one else has ever done, look, people have played two sports. People have played football and baseball. People haven't played football and baseball at the quarterback position and then played baseball at the highest level and still been all pro. But maybe he thinks he can do it. I would venture to say that he can't. I would venture to say that the chances are slim that he could do that. But hey, only, like I said, and how I started off this conversation, or my comments rather, only Kyler knows. Only he knows exactly where his heart lies and what he feels as though he can get done and what his expectations are. So it's hard to really answer whether or not he should give up on baseball, because if his expectations are such that, look, I think I can do both, and I'd be okay if I was just a good quality, top 12, top 15 starting quarterback, and I was a solid baseball player, and I got a chance to play both. If that's what his expectations are and that's where his heart is, then I guess, if the Cardinals are good with it and Oakland is good with it, then go ahead and do it. But, look, when you're drafted number 1 overall potentially like he could be, I don't think you can do this. I don't think you can make it. Yep. I don't think you can swing both like that.
Which is why if he can, it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Lewis, next time you miss us, just turn on the TV. We'll be right there.
Hey, wait a minute. You gonna be in Nashville, right?
Absolutely,
Lewis
man.
is everywhere.
I mean, I'm just saying, because, you don't forget about us.
Hey.
Make sure you come see us, bro.
Hey, well,
it ain't just on us.
Just
Or as
make sure I
Molly
know,
could come by.
Or as Molly
make sure I know
calls it,
where your set
Smashville.
is and get me on there. I'll be on there.
All right? You
I
could
read a
come
promo
by and say
that
what's
said
up.
Smashville. I'm sorry, you
you ain't
have a
got
dirty
to
mind.
disappear.
Called it Smashville.
So,
Let's call it Smashville. I don't know. I've never been there. I was dying to go to the city.
Well,
What do you
we'll
want
be
from
there
me?
next week.
Lewis.
I reckon you're right.
All right.
What? Every southern city.
It's Texas.
I can't. Bye. Bye, Lewis. Dak Prescott is lined to make big bucks in Big D, but